There are an estimated 2 million people living in the UK with a food allergy. And for them, something as simple as grabbing a sandwich can prove to be life-threatening. In severe cases, it can cause anaphylactic shock when the body overreacts to an allergen. As a child, Daniel Kelly found out he had a severe allergy.
I'm allergic to all nuts, so yeah, it's really serious. I can go into anaphylactic shock if even the smallest amount of nuts I kind of eat. So yeah, it's really scary. Every day is a challenge. It's a bit like Russian roulette. Everything I'm trying to do is kind of reduce that risk of having an allergic reaction.
Up until last month, freshly made packaged foods such as sandwiches and salads sold in sandwich shops and cafes didn't have to declare any of their ingredients on the label, or in fact have any label at all. But as of the 1st of October, a new law states that these foods must have a label listing all their ingredients and highlighting the 14 major allergens. This legislation is the result of campaigning by the family of teenager Natasha who died in 2016 after eating a baguette from a high street sandwich chain, which contained sesame. The baguette's packaging didn't list all its ingredients.
First thing I heard about Natasha was in the news, and it was just so shocking that obviously it wasn't labelled on the packaging. It kind of brought it to home a little bit that I live with this severe allergy, and what did happen to Natasha, it honestly broke my heart. And I do kind of carry that anxiousness of never knowing when that next allergic reaction might happen, and eating out sometimes I'm always worried that I'm having an allergic reaction.
Since 1998, the number of people admitted to hospital with anaphylactic shock has tripled, so it's vital that businesses abide by the new law.
Sadly, Natasha's death highlighted that certain products available from bakers and other outlets that were packed on the premises didn't need to be labelled with the full ingredients.
Richard Strawson works for East Sussex Trading Standards.
So what the new law has meant is that products that are made on the premises and packed need to have full ingredient labelling, and that includes the allergens. So that means that people like Natasha can be protected going forward.
Local businesses selling pre-packed food have had over 2 years to prepare for this law. And while it's inevitably more work, some sellers are taking it in their stride.
It's been straightforward. As long as you can keep on top of it with suppliers, that's the main thing, because if they send an ingredient in or a product in that's not actually on your list of products, then obviously you're going to be putting something in there which is a foreign product.
If in doubt, Darren Rice, who runs this cafe in Bedfordshire, is strict about the rules.
We either take the product off that day, which obviously affects our business, or secondly, we look at the ingredients on the new product, match it up against the old, redo a label, which is obviously time consuming, but it needs to be done. There's no getting away from it. It's here to stay. So really, it's something you have to be on board with.
But unfortunately, some businesses aren't on board, and that can risk lives. The law started to be enforced last month, and those who don't comply could face serious trouble.
Unfortunately, if they don't or they refuse to do so, there are criminal sanctions to that, but we hope that's not going to be necessary. We're here to support businesses the best way we can.
Today, Richard and his colleague Sarge are carrying out spot checks on local retailers. They'll be checking labelling on bread products, as well as testing for the same common allergen that led to the death of Natasha, sesame, often found in bread due to cross-contamination.
So what we purchased was a couple of sandwiches. I'm pleased to say there is full labelling on them. It does indicate some allergens, but significantly it's not labelled with sesame. So it's still important for us to get this tested to see whether sesame is in this and not declared.
We've also got these rolls, which don't actually have sesames on them, but next to them they did have rolls that had sesames on them. So there could be an element of cross-contamination on there. So that's why we picked these ones up as well.
Assuming there is no undeclared sesame in the sandwiches, the labelling appears thorough. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. The second shop Sarge and Richard visit has bread with what looks like sesame seeds on it, but with no allergens declared whatsoever. And a third shop also fails to declare any allergens or ingredients on its pre-packed food.
So these products are both pre-packed for direct sale, so they should have full ingredients labelling, including declarations of any allergens. There's no labelling here, so we'll submit them to see if they've got any undeclared sesame in them.
All 3 batches of products are sent to the lab for testing to see if the major allergen sesame is found by analyst John Griffin and his team.
So essentially the process really requires us to get the allergenic proteins out of the food. And then we can react those on a plate, and then once we've done that, we can see whether we get coloration. That basically gives us an idea of the presence of the allergenic protein.
And while the products that actually had labels did not contain sesame, just as their labels said, sure enough, those were sesame seeds on that unlabelled loaf of bread.
So we've definitely got one positive, very distinctive positive.
A similar mistake with nuts could prove fatal for someone like Daniel.
Thank you very much. Natasha's Law is definitely a step in the right direction to make sure it's safe for those obviously living with allergies, and people can kind of make a more informed decision now they've got all the information in front of them, whereas before that you are taking a risk. And I think going forward it is going to make people feel more confident and save lives, more importantly, that what happened to Natasha won't happen again.